This week, let's call MAGA what it really is: a party of monarchists. There were plenty of people like that in 1775. The grand old party had a name: the Tories. Tom Paine wrote about them. Every Tory is a coward. For servile, slavish, self-interested fear is the foundation of Toryism. And a man under such an influence, though he may be cruel, never can be brave. You might have heard about Sam and Martha Ann Alito flying this flag. When this came to light, the liberal media was outraged. "Oh my God," they said, "this flag is associated with right-wing extremism." But I think they were outraged at the wrong thing. This is probably the most radically democratic flag in American history. It was flown by Yankee privateers, Washington's cruisers. They converted their sloops into fast, lightly armed schooners. And they operated out of hidden harbors in New Bedford, and Narragansett, and Nantucket. They did hit-and-run raids against British shipping. And they cut General Howe's supply lines when he was the closest to crushing the revolt. And if you want to know who was on these ships, just read Moby Dick. Yankee Quakers, Wampanoags and Pequots, immigrant Portuguese, Malays, Africans, West Indians, Polynesians, and they had captains like Ahab. "Arg, we hunt the British brigantines, and he that shall spy their white sails first shall have this gold doubloon." And the New England maritime trade was the natural refuge of black freedmen, like this guy, Caesar Tarrant. He escaped from slavery to take the helm of one of these fast battle schooners. And when he took out the rudder of a British frigate, he saved the boats evacuating Washington's troops from New York. And look, I don't want to romanticize the American Revolution. I mean, in the southern colonies, many of the rebels were just fighting to preserve slavery. In fact, the British offered freedom to slaves if they would fight for the crown to put down the revolt. And that's a pretty inconvenient fact for the Hollywood version. But we shouldn't romanticize the British either. General Howe was not Abraham Lincoln. In New Jersey, New York, and New England, he waged a vicious counterinsurgency, a terror war. He used German mercenaries because regular English troops couldn't be counted on to brutalize their own countrymen enough. Both sides turned native nations against each other. The British allied with the Iroquois and the Mohawk, and the Americans using Oneida and Tuscaroras as shock troops to terrorize the other side. Loyalists and rebels burned down each other's towns, and the Americans and British took reprisals against each other, tarring and feathering, assaulting the civilians. Terrible things that don't fit the Yankee Doodle narrative. But I still want to hold on to some part of this memory, to rescue some part of this origin story, something to identify with, some people to honor with gratitude, something worth fighting for. I wish I could translate them into some modern analog, something to make it recognizable. How dare these smug royalists steal the memory of this flag? The people that flew this flag fought against everything that MAGA stands for. Against the cult of power, against enforced state religion, against an economic system that made working people subsidize the oligarchy, against white supremacy, against the persecution of immigrants, against the supply lines of the empire. The religious fanatics that love this flag now have just seized on the word heaven, like they can plagiarize its author, John Locke, and turn it into the Spanish Inquisition. How dare these fascist stormtroopers fly this flag next to their slavery banners? I want to recapture this flag for what it originally meant: liberty, equality, fraternity. How dare these jumped up Tories cosplay like they are the heirs of Tom Paine, like they represent Caesar Tarrant. Who controls the present controls the past. Who controls the past controls the future. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered.